Thank you for joining us now on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Jason Hackett. This morning, the worst of the rain is over and what's left is on its way out. But after more than 24 hours of the system sitting on top of us, some areas have some significant totals to show for it. Michelle Beck has a closer look at how that's affecting drought concerns.
Take a look outside my windshield right now. This is 394 westbound. We just left downtown Minneapolis and you can see the showers. We're in the middle of it right now, but all morning long we've been on the road for maybe about 2 hours now. And my photographer, Jack Stanek, I've seen him switch the notches of our windshield wipers quite a number of times. So that just shows you how on again, off again this rain is this morning. Well, you, our viewers, showed us just how much it rained for you on our That's So Minnesota Facebook page. We are seeing nearly 5 inches in White Bear Township, less than 2.5 in Coon Rapids. That should help both the places I just mentioned because they've been abnormally dry according to the latest drought monitor map released yesterday. A National Weather Service meteorologist calls this a good late spring soaking.
We do have dry weather expected after this, so any relief that we do see, we're not saying it's going to be dry for the next 14 days, but with the way the outlooks are going, they're trending for a drier pattern, which will be only temporary relief on the abnormally dry conditions that we're seeing.
So as we were dealing with all this heavy rain yesterday, we know that crews up north have remained battling those wildfires there. And I was just asking our John Ziegler whether the rain could have helped them at all. And he unfortunately pointed to the Ely Airport at the northernmost tip here in Minnesota. And he unfortunately told me that the Ely Airport didn't see a single drop of rain. Back to you.
Michelle, thank you. And you heard it there. As much as it rained in our area, it remained dry and windy in northern Minnesota, continuing to make it tough for firefighters. Last night, Governor Walz declared a peacetime emergency to send even more resources. We just checked, and the latest report on the Camp House fire burning near Brimson is nearly 60% contained. The Jenkins Creek fire remains only 6% contained at this hour. More than 220 people are working to fight the flames. So far, they've burned nearly 17,000 acres. This morning, lawmakers will be back at the state capitol to iron out differences on their budget bills. That's after they failed to reach a deal before the legislative session ended on Monday night. A special session is expected, but Governor Walz says he won't call one until the terms of the budget bills are worked out. They have until 5 tonight to do that. Breaking news this morning, Virginia Representative Gerry Connolly, a top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, has died. That's according to his family. He was 75 years old. Connolly just won a competitive race less than a year ago in Virginia and recently announced he would retire at the end of his term after his esophageal cancer returned. He represented Virginia's 11th district since 2008, winning re-election 8 times. Let's take a live look at the Capitol in D.C., where last night the House Rules Committee advanced what President Trump is calling his one big beautiful bill. The all-nighter comes after President Trump pushed House GOP holdouts yesterday to get behind the budget package. NBC's Alice Barr has the very latest from Washington.
The committee will come to order.
The schedule may have looked like a typo, but just after 1 a.m., debate began in the House Rules Committee over the massive budget package on President Trump's agenda.
Americans need this legislation to ensure our economic survival.
Democrats slamming the timing.
Then why are you trying to ram it through in the dead of night?
Republicans say they need every hour to work through the details ahead of a self-imposed Friday deadline for full House passage that won't require any votes from Democrats, though Republicans have to overcome internal divisions.
There are critical changes that we need to see.
The bill increases spending on immigration and the military and extends the 2017 Trump tax cuts while temporarily ending tax on tips and overtime, offset through cuts to food assistance, clean energy funding, and Medicaid, which President Trump told conservatives not to F around with, according to 2 lawmakers in a closed-door meeting Tuesday.
I think we're going to get everything we want. And I think we're going to have a great victory.
Democrats in the minority have little control but have been messaging hard about the real-world impacts.
Millions of people will lose health care. Prices will go up for folks across the country.
Lindsay Latham, who relies on Medicaid to support her special needs son, is deeply worried.
People will file for bankruptcy when they have to go to the doctor or the hospital, and there will be ripple effects.
Republicans insist they're targeting Medicaid fraud, but the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimates the bill would take health insurance away from at least 8.5 million people. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Well, not long ago, Target kicked off a conference call to report its first quarter earnings. Hours before the meeting, we did learn that sales for the Minneapolis-based retailer fell 2.8%. Target says it's expecting a low single-digit decline in sales for the rest of the year. The company's CEO says a number of factors are affecting sales, including pressure over tariffs and boycotts scaling back its DEI policy. Well, happening right now, Minneapolis leaders say the city is making significant strides in reforming the police department. That progress detailed in a new report released on Tuesday. Lou Raguse has more on the changes they've accomplished, what they've accomplished, and where they've fallen short.
What I am most proud of is it's very clear this police department has done more in 1 year, I would argue, than any other police department in the first year of a consent decree. In my experience, I can't think of any other one that's gotten this much done.
Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara is happy with the status report 1 year into the implementation of the Department of Human Rights Settlement Agreement, the state version of a consent decree to make police reforms.
I think it's a fair report.
The report says the department has nearly completely cleared an unacceptable backlog of misconduct complaints that had not been fully reviewed. In addition, the report says the city and the MPD have made more progress toward building a foundation for sustainable reform in the first year of monitoring than nearly any other jurisdiction.
They're investing their resources and putting in the work.
Michael Harrison is leading the panel monitoring the progress. He stresses this is a foundational period, mostly spent on drafting policies.
They have to lay the foundation that the rest of the reforms will sit on and will depend on.
The report does highlight some distrust of the process by officers, worried the department would use new policies to get them in trouble.
That is a natural concern that cops everywhere have, because they feel like it is intrinsically tied to discipline somehow.
But overall, Harrison was struck with how compliant MPD has been with the plan.
In other places, we've seen more pushback, more denial of, we don't need this. They have all types of things to say about it. At the point we started, people have been working hand in hand.
Harrison says there isn't any place in the report where MPD has fallen short, but he understands frustration with how long this whole process takes. Chief O'Hara reiterated that they plan to also implement everything from the federal consent decree, even if that never gets officially put into place. New today, Louisiana State Police announced they've captured a fifth inmate who escaped from a New Orleans jail last week. 19-year-old Corey Boyd was arrested last night in New Orleans. 5 other inmates are still on the run right now. Police say the group pulled a broken cell door off of its tracks and escaped through a hole in the wall behind a toilet. A maintenance worker inside the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office has also been arrested for allegedly helping the inmates escape. He says he was forced to help after being threatened by a former inmate.
This was a coordinated effort aided by individuals inside our own agency who made the choice to break the law.
Authorities are offering a $20,000 reward for each inmate. The FBI says some of them may be getting help from members of the public. Minnesota sports fans waking up with a chip on their shoulders. Both the Timberwolves and the Frost in the playoffs last night, both losing. Let's start with the T-Wolves and their game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. We pick things up in the first half. Julius Randle was on fire. He had a game-high 20 in the first half on 5 of 6 shooting from 3. The Wolves were up at 4 at halftime. But the Thunder outscored the Wolves 32-18 in the third quarter to rally back and take control of this game. The Thunder winning game 1, final score here 114-88. Turning now to game 1 of the PWHL finals, the Frost on the road against Ottawa. The Frost down 1 in the third. Klara Himlarova ties the game, this one going into overtime, and Emily Clark says it's time to go home. She has the game-winning goal here, Frost falling 2-1. The defending champs down 0-1 in this best-of-5 series, back in action Thursday at 6 p.m. Well, some good news here. The Lynx are undefeated so far in the regular season with the first 2 games under their belt. And tonight, they can be back home here at Target Center for their home opener with another matchup against Minnesota native Paige Bueckers and the Dallas Wings. Audrey Russo is tracking all of the excitement.
For Dallas, tonight's matchup is an opportunity for a comeback. They've already lost to the Lynx last week back in their home turf in Texas. Now for Minnesota fans, this is the chance to watch the hometown team play against a homegrown hero. We're talking about Paige Bueckers, Minnesota native and Dallas Wings player, facing off against the team that nearly won it all last season. The Lynx key players have returned after making it to the finals in 2024, and they're off to a strong start this year, 2-0 as they head into tonight's home opener. Now match that energy against the league's #1 overall pick this year. Around dinner time last night, Bueckers spoke about what it means to represent both Dallas and Minnesota.
You put on this jersey for the people prior and then for the next generation to continue to pave the way, however that looks like. So to be able to come out here and compete at the highest level, show little girls and anybody in the stands that it's possible for them to get to this point.
Tip-off is at 7 o'clock tonight, but for now, I'll send things back to you.
All right, Audrey, thank you very much. Stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.